Hello, people. I'm here with a friend of mine from the UK. He's Benjamin from English Life with Benjamin. I'm going to let him introduce himself. How are you today, my friend?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Thank you very much for having me on your channel. It's a pleasure, and it was really lovely to receive your message recently. As Rodrigo said, my name is Benjamin. I teach English, and this is how we have come to know each other.
Yeah, actually, I saw his stuff on TikTok, on Instagram, and here he is. So, why did you decide to become an English teacher?
That is a very long-winded answer that I could give. I will try to keep it as short and sweet as possible. It was never my initial intention, and it was never a passion that I grew up thinking about. My passion was sports, my passion was football, and that was the road that I thought that I would go down from the very beginning, my first memory. I followed that path. It didn't work out for one reason or another, and I kind of fell out of love with it whilst living in London. And so, due to family reasons and due to many other things, I decided that maybe venturing out to Spain and trying to live there and learn Spanish would be a great idea. But my Spanish wasn't very good before when I was thinking about this goal or this idea, and I thought about what jobs would be suitable or useful for me moving to Spain. Teaching English was the first on my list. And so then set about a process of trying to make myself good at this job and studying and learning and doing all of those things before I went. And that's a little bit about the beginning of the process. And I'm sure we'll go into a little bit more detail later.
Out of the 4 language skills, which is your favorite?
Ooh, I would say writing has become more interesting as of late, but I would definitely say speaking is by far the most common thing that I approach. It's the most common problem the students come to me with, connecting the pronunciation, the slang from Britain, whatever. So that's the thing I enjoy the most, but all of them are an interesting challenge in one way or another. What about you? Sorry, what about you?
Listening, pronunciation, intonation, and placement.
Lovely, lovely, lovely.
I am curious now, what has made you swap London to Spain?
Oh, well, when I say these reasons to people, they automatically think I'm lying or think I'm crazy because London has everything. It's so exciting. You have, if whatever you like, you can find. But at that moment in my life, not making out like my life has been very long, I'm not saying that, but at that moment, I wanted a complete change. Somewhere, yes, very stereotypical, but with nice weather. I wanted to see a new culture, new people, new experiences, and also step outside of the comfort zone in some way, because it's always living, you know, your family's in London, your friends are there, you're protected. You know what to expect and you have a bubble. Then you move to Spain, you don't speak the language, you don't know the people, you don't have a job, and you grow from that.
Yes. I think that when we are out of our comfort zone is the best thing to do, because you never get used to doing things automatically. I think that's the best idea. Because we speak a second or a third language, we have the travel bug. I love traveling. This pandemic has driven me crazy. How do you like to approach your students? What makes it fun for you?
Definitely. And if I may add one point, because you focusing on the comfort zone, you are so right about that. It's something that is so difficult in that moment because you suffer, and no one wants to suffer. Of course, there's different extremities to suffering. Could be very minor, could be very severe. But you know, if you can persevere through that suffering and out of your comfort zone, then, 2, 3, 4 years later, you think, wow, well, this is pretty easy now. But if I hadn't done that, and if I had given up, I wouldn't have reached that moment of understanding, I would say. So I just wanted to add that.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. And about the teaching, I mean, the lovely thing nowadays, the connection of social media, and I'm sure you know, is we get to speak with people from all different walks of life, all different religions, backgrounds, preferences, whatever. The thing I enjoy the most is that nothing is the same, no person is the same, and no problem is the same. So it's a different analysis before the classes start as to what they need. And that's what I really enjoy. And I always compare that to maybe an office job or something that's very mundane. You repeat the same tasks, but with teaching, even if you're teaching conditionals or the same grammar, each person will have to look at that in a different way to make them understand.
And they have different ways of learning as well. One is more visual, the other one is more audio visual. So you have to analyze your student beforehand. I don't know if you agree with me.
I completely agree with you. And that's the incredible challenge, is you're not only there to relay information, you first and foremost, as you said, understand the person before, and also like maybe look through the story they tell you. Because a lot of times people tell you a story, but what's the reality? What do they really need? What type of person are they really? And what's the best approach for helping them achieve this?
Yeah, of course. What is an unforgettable moment for you while teaching?
Oh, I remember at the very beginning, because I arrived in Spain, and as we spoke about the other day, yesterday, Rodrigo, was about the native and non-native. Non-native speakers are frowned upon because they don't speak it as a mother tongue, so they are looked down upon. They don't have the same qualities, which is the furthest thing from the truth. So I got a job in Spain because I was a native speaker. But if you speak about quality, at that moment, I was not at the correct level, really. I didn't have the experience. I didn't have the understanding. And so they gave me some training, and I remember having that training, doing a few classes, a little bit of Cambridge exam, a little bit of speaking, etc. And then the person who was mentoring me left the room. And I had a very simple method in my mind about how the class was going to go. And my mind just went blank. Now, this is a very negative experience, but it was because I was so nervous. And yes, I can speak English, but at that moment when these people were looking at me and expecting something, it was very difficult. Now, I feel like I run on autopilot in some ways because I've done that situation so many times before. And when you're relaxed, your mind works in a different way. But when your mind is nervous and under pressure, it can crumble sometimes, and it can leave you vulnerable. That's a memory that will stay with me for a very long time.
Actually, when I am under pressure, I tumble down, literally. Literally, I tumble down. Student-wise, is there any memory that you can remember fondly or whatever?
Good, yes. There is not one that stands out in my mind as this one person, but there have been so many kind of beautiful moments. I mean, I'm lucky that obviously the pandemic has forced us online in many ways, but before the pandemic, I taught so many classes face-to-face in companies, with children, and private. So there have been beautiful moments with children's courses where you do a year, you have a little bit of a celebration at the end, and they do a performance in English, and that's like a very beautiful moment. And the parents see the achievement. But also, I have fond memories of just helping people achieve something, like get a certificate, which is something very mundane, getting the certificate, but it helps them to then get a job, get into university, improve their life. And you feel like I was able to be some small piece on their journey.
Yeah. I think that when their eyes glow, it's priceless,
It definitely is. And it's not all the time, is it? But when it happens, you're very grateful for all of those difficult moments.
Yeah. Let me tell you a story, a quick story. My wife and I, we work with scholarships, discounts. So a lot of different people study with me from different walks of life, as you said. I have a pizza story that made me, my eyes were filled with tears. This student,
Okay.
he was around 10 or 11 years old, and he came to me. It was a Monday, so he wanted to tell me a story that happened over the weekend. And he told me, teacher, because they call us teacher. Teacher, we had pizza yesterday. I said, yes, what were you celebrating? He said, no, my father bought pizza and we had a party. Yes, but what were you celebrating then? The whole family. No, he just bought pizza. Pizza was the reason to have a party. And that moment moved me so much. Like, I'm giving the opportunity to this child to learn a different code, which will open doors to him in the future. I never forgot that story because the pizza was the party. There was no birthday, no anniversary, anything, just the pizza there.
Wow, it's. I'm so glad you said that because it's so humbling, and
Mhm.
it's. I find it so easy to lose being humble. You know, you get carried away in the day in thinking you are something, but
Yeah.
then when you compare the blessings you have to someone who celebrates
Mhm.
just the simple food that we go
Mhm.
and buy on the street, and we don't think twice about that.
Mhm.
Thank you for telling the beautiful story.
Yeah, and one other thing, I think that we're not only teachers. As a private school teacher, sometimes I am a coach, sometimes I am a friend, sometimes I am a therapist because
Yes.
they wanna talk after the class ends. Maybe they don't have someone to turn to and they trust you and they want to tell their stuff. I think I couldn't have chosen better my profession.
Probably, but would you say that you didn't? It was just a calling for you, was it? It was something that. Did you have other options, or was it always going to be this?
I wanted to work with English anyway. I wanted to be a translator at the very
Okay.
beginning, to translate from English into Portuguese. But then when I finished my English course, my principal invited me to teach with her. I said, "You're crazy. I'm not able to teach." She said, "You are. You are." I said, "Okay, I can try." And she said, "No, you're not going to try. You're going to be a teacher with me because you have teacher delivery." I said, "You're kidding me, right?" She said, "No." Oh, I said, "Okay, but I want you to be my mentor and be with me in the classroom for one day and see how I teach, if there's something to adjust, if there's any tweaks." She said, "I'll do something with you." She said, "You know what I'm going to do?" She was very funny. Brazilians are very funny.
Yeah.
And she said, "You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put you inside the classroom, kick your behind, and close the door."
In at the deep end.
And close the door, just that. And I worked with her for 10 lovely years.
Lovely, lovely. So you had quite a tough beginning in terms of teaching. You didn't have any preparation, but it made you learn and it made you develop.
Learning English for me was easy. I had such a passion for the language
Yes.
because learning for me was like present perfect, like whatever came, I would
Yeah.
crack it down.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. As you said, maybe it was a calling, maybe it was a gift. I don't know. When I started teaching, the only thing that she told me that I think it was a rule of thumb and also a golden rule, she
Mm.
said, "Remember that nobody knows better than you inside the classroom, but there's always a but
Yeah.
always be humble and respectful with
Mm.
your student."
Yes, it's important to have that balance, and it's easy to get lost in that, but definitely it's
Yeah.
something that I try to remember as much as possible.
And the friends that I do along the way. meeting you and making friends with you, it was
Exactly.
priceless, because we clicked from the very first second. I
Exactly.
think we have the same purpose, we have the same ideas, we think alike. I think that's what
Exactly.
it's important.
I
So
agree. And a good point you made about that is because, you know, everything we do is to make ourselves happy.
yes.
I think no matter what anyone says, whether it's to earn more money, to have a new house, or to
Hmm.
make friends, it's
Hmm.
because it makes us feel good.
Hmm.
And from teaching and seeing that progression, it doesn't always work. But as you said, seeing your students then become doctors, become this, become that, it's like you achieve something and it
Yes.
gives you that reward and that satisfaction. And that's what we're looking for.
Yes.
We can wake up in the morning and be positive and we can have habits, but
Hmm.
we need goals to achieve. We need stepping
Yeah.
stones and aims. Without those, it becomes a little bit more meaningless, I think.
What is the advice that you give my audience to
Mm.
keep studying English?
The first thing that I would say, because it seems like the biggest pitfall amongst students that I have that don't stay motivated, is understand why you're doing it and realize the benefit that it will give you. If you realize you're doing something and it will benefit you in the future and it's not just wasted time, wasted money,
Hmm.
and suffering, then you're much more likely to be passionate and dedicated, like you told me yesterday.
Hmm.
That's what I would say. Once you realize your goal, I would then move on to saying, if you're not enjoying the English process as it is, how can you
Hmm.
improve it and make it better? There's no need for us to unnecessarily suffer. But if you're listening to Rodrigo's channel and you enjoy that, then do more of it. If you love watching Friends, maybe make it a studying process, but do more of that. Doesn't mean that you can ignore the grammar and the other parts, but we don't need to suffer unnecessarily in every aspect.
Yes, yes. Awesome. My future in teaching is
Well, if I look from the very first moment till now, I see an
Mhm,
incredible transformation. So
mhm.
I hope that my personal growth of becoming a better teacher and mentor and advisor in any way improves, because without that, I won't feel satisfied.
Mhm,
Um, I honestly could not tell you how the time will look and what it will be.
mhm,
I know
mhm.
that I love doing this and I know that it's something I want to continue, but in what capacity, I will leave that up to life to give me the surprise and guide me in hopefully the best path it has for me. But at this very moment, I'm extremely happy. If that continues, I will be grateful. If it
Mhm,
changes into a different capacity,
mhm.
maybe back to classroom, into a
Yeah.
school or whatever, then even
Mhm.
better.
And one very last question. What is your
Sure.
opinion about non-native English teachers like me?
I think I gave you a strong answer yesterday, which I stand by today, which is it's a very, it seems to be contradictory and a very uh, silly opinion by most people,
Mhm,
because from my little experience of learning Spanish, someone who has the knowledge of learning the language knows the pitfalls, knows the problems, knows the pronunciation that you're struggling with. So a non-native speaker, someone who has learned English, has many more advantages than a native speaker does, because I still can make mistakes in English sometimes, can't I? So to summarize, I think that non-native speakers as teachers are of the highest quality and
mhm.
extremely, extremely valuable. And I think they have more knowledge in many ways than someone who's just native.
Okay. Awesome. I agree with you entirely. Now we're gonna play the rapid round game,
I'm not prepared for
which
this.
don't worry, which everybody loves. I'm going to begin and then I'm going in the hot seat and you are going to ask me questions. All right?
Okay.
Teaching is,
An everyday enjoyable challenge.
family is,
Support.
friends are.
Chosen wisely.
The most beautiful word in English for me is,
The first word that comes to my mind is entrepreneur, but only because I have a joke with one student about it. But it's not the most beautiful because it's not even naturally from English.
Yeah. No worries. In 5 years, I'll be
A better version of myself.
Benjamin on Benjamin.
Self-critical, but at the same time, confident. Or it's been a long journey of confidence, but confidence comes.
Mhm.
And I would hope a support and a positive guidance for people that need that.
YouTube or TikTok?
TikTok at the moment, but I think YouTube is the place to be. my only negative point about myself is I'm not an avid fan of editing long videos. So I do enjoy the short TikTok videos that I can do with my limited creativity.
Now, I am in the hot seat and you're free to ask whatever you want.
Okay. Happiness for you is?
Having my family and having my friends next to me.
Wisdom is gained by?
Humbleness, respect, and passion.
My greatest teaching challenge has been?
To overcome myself.
Lovely. My favorite food is?
Brazilian staple food, rice and beans. White rice and beans.
Perfect. The country that I would love to visit in the future is?
England.
See, it's even more exceptional. One of my greatest teaching memories to date
was the pizza story that I told you. I can't forget the story. I think I'll remember that story till the day I die.
Yeah. Something that I do to give me a boost if I'm feeling tired or down or a bit negative or just not in my A game.
It's when I see my whole family, my wife, my children sleeping peacefully. There's no price.
Where I see myself in 5 years?
Teaching English, learning even more English, and making more friends.
Excellent. My goals and objectives are? Similar question, but?
To be happy, to see my children happy, be respectful, spread the word of peace around the world.
Excellent. And final question. Your next YouTube video will be?
An interview.
Thank you very much, Rodrigo. Those are my questions.
Thank you. For every guest, I have a sentence, a quote, a takeaway. And for you it's so easy to find and be friends with someone who is very humble and very open and very wise. You are very young. I found you on TikTok and I have seen a couple of videos and that was enough for reaching you out and inviting you for an interview. Because I could see that you were trying to bring good quality material to teenagers on TikTok. And your job is flawless. You are natural, funny, and very, very wise. I think you have a long and beautiful journey ahead of you. Keep doing what you're doing so well.
Thank you so much for that lovely, lovely message, Rodrigo. I think it's a beautiful way to finish this interview. And all I can say is you have made my day and yesterday by meeting you for the first time and having a beautiful conversation, as you said, so natural, so easy, so familiar. And I just applaud you as well for everything you do, the channel that you've created, the platform you give to people to share their ideas and their story. And I only wish the best happiness and success for you in the goals and the plans that you have, and of course for your family as well. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity and this time.
Thank you for having the time to talk to me and doing this interview. People, this was my friend Benjamin. All his details are going to be in the description box below. I hope you liked it. See you next week. Bye-bye. Thank you. See you.
Thank you.
Hello, it's Rod's friend here, Gino from Real Everyday English. Sorry for interrupting your video. I just want to make a quick recommendation that you subscribe to Rodrigo's channel. He's an amazing guy, he's so humble, he's so dedicated, and he creates absolutely fantastic content. See you people soon. Bye bye, God bless.